Welcome to trade recap for August 24th. Today was very much a patient day. There were a few setups that I faded that I did not like, that felt like more of a what you would call a pattern trade and stuff like that. But I'm going to go over how I was able to stay patient and actually execute on a pretty A+ setup. The only thing that was a little rough about it was the aftermath. We had very good delivery at first. We hit a 5-minute, which was my break even. And then we had a very volatile candle here. The 2-minute was supporting us for a while. I was expecting this 15-minute to get reached on NASDAQ. And then I had my TP slightly into profit on that 15, or not slightly into profit, but just slightly into the 15 for a little bit over a 1-to-1. And when we got filled on break even here, this candle was extremely volatile and it exited us somewhere around here. So we actually had some small little decent profits on the day. We basically got like, it was like 0.4 risk to reward on each account somehow. It like filled us all the way up here. So not complaining about that. Happy break even. But definitely wanted to be out of it after reaching this 5-minute. On ES, we actually reached the 15-minute already. So that makes sense why we saw a pretty good rejection from that area. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up holding this as high resistance, but it's just not something that I want to be in anymore. So I am done and stepping out for the day. So let's go and break down on the higher time frame. Make sure you watch the pre-market analysis before this video so you have a better understanding of what I was looking at, what I wanted to see, and how I was able to capitalize on the day. So on the daily time frame, we could see that we weren't really showing the high time frame narrative structure shift from this daily intermediate low that we've been wanting to see for the last really week. So I was definitely seeing a more bearish high time frame idea start to play out. We were recently delivering from a 4-hour internal high, not 4-hour internal high, 4-hour fair value gap on ES. And we had low resistance, previous day lows, and this swing low on ES. Hold on, trying to piece it all together here without it sounding messy. So once we reach previous day lows and this swing low, I very much expected to see a relief. The only thing that people probably did wrong today is they just took the first inversion. That is not what you needed to do today. That would have very much shot your capital for the day. There was 2 trades specifically that I very much faded. The first one was this 30-second. Okay. So we had relative equal lows on the, with this low right here and this low that was put in pre-market. I wanted to see this get ran. I wanted to see previous day lows and the swing low all get ran before looking for a long 2 5 or 15-minute. But the first setup we got was market came into this London low, which was a swing low on NASDAQ, and presented us with this 30-second inversion. I was not going to take this. Let me tell you multiple reasons why. First reason, it is the first inversion after this massive dump at market open. Second, we did not take out any of the low resistance draws and liquidity on ES. Okay. Look on both assets. You want to see if there's anything. What are you putting your stop loss at? If you would have entered on this trade, you would have been putting your stop loss at the first low of generated low resistance liquidity on the higher time frame. Not smart at all. So I did not take that. I faded that. Even seeing it deliver to this high was very unlikely as a break-even point because of low resistance liquidity. So we ended up dumping at 9:44 is when we took out that swing low, which is this down move here. We had a pull up. I was completely staying out of it until we generated structure. So what did we see is that price came down and reswept this low, showing an exhaustion candle. And then at this point is when I was very ready for launch. We had a unfilled 5-minute fair value gap that we've created low resistance liquidity leading up to low time frame, low resistance liquidity. And we were about to open up a 15-minute, which would also be a strong draw on liquidity. So exhaustion candle, we had really good generated structure here. And also we had a more internal generated structure here that I was willing to long off of. So I took this 30-second inversion very strong displacing candle. I had no doubt that we were going to reach the 5-minute on ES and on NASDAQ, and that was my break-even point. Sadly, we did not get full TP on it. That's a part of the game. But today was honestly pretty good. If you were patient and were able to just to see the overall narrative of this low resistance on the higher time frame, and also seeing this unfilled 5-minute with low resistance, be patient enough to wait for the generated low time frame structure, you could have capitalized on this day. Even a 1-to-1 on the dot might have got filled. I don't know. That would have been close. It might have just edged it and left. But pause. My bad. So very much I would put under A+ because of the generated low time frame structure after filling this low resistance and targeting low resistance. We just needed to wait for us to be trading high resistance towards low resistance, and that's what we were able to put in the market. So there's no reason for me not to put my capital on it. This 2-minute supported us for quite a while. I was expecting us to want to punch through this 15-minute on NASDAQ as well, but because we already reached it on ES, it wasn't absolutely necessary for price. But 2-minute was clutch. I definitely expected us to want to return to these highs here. Like I said, being it protecting a 15-minute. But we got this glorified break even basically. But pretty good day. I will be on tomorrow. Tomorrow should be a pretty decent price action day, but we will always see the market has its own crazy ideas. I'm going to be working on some educational videos today as well, so keep your eyes out for that. But I'll catch y'all later. God bless. Stay safe. Trade safe. Peace out.